I gotta look for you.
We are live.
Are we live?
I think we're almost human live.
Does it show we're live?
Yep. I'm watching myself right now.
Then snap the crowd and welcome to Almost Human Live. And look, Wayne is back from his trip.
I'm back from the dead.
To Louisiana.
Tennessee.
Huh?
Tennessee.
Whatever. Same shit, different.
And I didn't get shot. There was a shooting in Tennessee while I was there.
Really?
Yeah. Thankfully, not near where I was. It was in Nashville. So I missed all that.
Where in Tennessee did you go?
I went to Pigeon Forge, and it was right near Gatlinburg. I don't know if you know where Gatlinburg is.
Nope.
No? Okay.
All I know is Memphis and Nashville.
Wow. Okay. Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg are very famous towns. They're very touristy. So, you might not like it. There's a lot of people there. But actually, when we went, it was completely dead. I mean, we went to Dolly World, like I was talking to you guys before, and I was expecting it to be a madhouse there because it was spring break here. So I figured people would be there. But we maybe 10 minutes to wait on a ride. So it was like perfect. And the weather was perfect and everything. So we had a lot of fun. A lot of fun. I did miss being with you guys last week, though. I did watch it. I watched on YouTube because I was back at our cabin and nothing was going on. So I checked in, made sure nobody was talking bad about me in here. And yeah, everything was okay.
Are we live now?
Yeah,
we've been live. People are in the chat there. I don't know what that means. Is this 10? I don't know what that means. Hi, guys. Is this 10 armed and oh, okay. Is this 10?
Yeah, I don't want to talk about 9-armed Def Leppard, man. Fuck that shit. That ain't the same band.
And Ralph Tony, everybody's here. The usuals.
It's all about the 10 arms.
The 10 arms. Well, I got my start on the 9 arms, but man, nice shirt.
In honor of that, I'll have this Def Leppard bootleg album.
Oh wow!
It's called.
What is that for?
Yeah.
2 arms to arm.
yeah. 2 arms, 2 arms. 2 arms, 2 arm.
Yeah. What is that?
It's the like some BBC recordings, like off BBC radio, just a bootleg album.
But what year?
Oh, with Pyromania.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, very cool. Very cool. Yeah, you can't give him too much shit because he lost his arm. I mean, it sucks with the band.
It's got that too many jitterbugs thing that's in the box set. It's got that and a live show from Pyromania. Yeah,
but it was amazing what he was able to do after he lost his arm.
I agree totally. I did watch their Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction, and I got to say, I mean, that man walked up and he got a standing ovation, and he should.
Yeah, I think
it's amazing what he did. I mean, and I've seen him where they came back and he was using the electronic drums, but he does a lot of stuff over the years. They've switched back to more acoustic drums. He still has his triggers and stuff back there, but man, God, he's gotten so good with one arm. I mean, God, if he miraculously just got another arm again, he'd probably be like Neil Peart or something,
Oh, let's not get crazy.
I mean, not only is he drumming with one arm, but he was able to beat his wife's ass.
I was gonna say.
Well, he had a step on. He had a holder with his foot.
He beat her ass with his arm, but what he did with the stump, he did the rope-a-dope. And while she was looking at this, he clocked her.
I thought maybe he was standing on her or something.
What a dick. Yeah.
Well, his name is Dick, right? Dick Allen.
Yeah, that's true. That is true. But he's been doing drum rolls on like the last couple albums, and I'm like, how is he doing drum rolls? I'd like to see that done.
I think he's really tried to redeem himself over the last 20 years or so. And he's like, I think he's married to a chick now, to some musician, and they go out and do shows together. And he does all this charity work with drums for kids and all. Cool guy, man. I picked him up at the hotel once when I worked the show, and he was really cool, real nice guy. But we're talking about
the
band today. So yeah, when he was like 15 years old or something when that first album came out.
Yeah, 15, 16.
Yeah.
Wow. I didn't know he was that young.
The whole
And
band
he
was
wasn't the
like,
original drummer either, which I really didn't
mm-mm.
remember that. So
No, I think he was related
His name
to
was Wayne Noon. No, it
yeah,
was
yeah.
actually
Frank Noon.
Frank Noon.
Wow. Was there an E at
There
the
he
end of that?
is. Wayne's long lost
Yeah,
cousin,
look at that.
Frank.
Never knew. I never knew that.
And
Yeah.
isn't it ironic that Wayne's a drummer and Frank
And
Noon was a
and
drummer?
Frank
You
Noon's
know,
the drummer.
everybody praises Def Leppard because they stuck with Rick Allen because he lost an arm. They fired Frank Noon because he got like a paper cut on one finger.
Never heard about
Not
that.
loyal at all.
That's
Never
how it
heard about
happened.
that.
Poor Frank Noon.
That's fucked up.
Yeah.
I'll have to talk to him about that. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
it's
When
amazing. You know,
when you see Frank at the next family reunion, you guys need to discuss that.
I'll talk to him about it. But it is amazing because, you know, Def Leppard is my first rock band. You know, this is the band I loved immediately when I heard Bring On the Heartbreak, and then Hysteria came out. I was like, oh my God, it was my favorite band forever. But you know, to know that one of my distant relatives was in that band, it's amazing. Ralph turned me on to Wayne, Metal Church, great album. Huh?
Oh,
Okay.
Yeah.
The band Wayne.
Ah, okay. All right.
Yeah. Former Metal Church lead singers.
Yeah.
That guitar player in that Wayne band, I forgot his name. Fucking sick. Amazing. Yeah. And the album's called Metal Church.
Yeah, Craig plays on that album too, but it had two guitarists. I can't remember the name of the other guitarist. Yeah.
Something Bell, I think.
Was it Jimmy Bell?
Yeah.
Jimmy Bell. That's the guy that's in he's like in the Autograph, the band that tours his Autograph or had a cease and desist with the name. But yeah, I think he played in House of Lords. So that guy's good, man. Killer.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
So if we're getting off the subject of Def Leppard for a second, I want to show you a couple of things that came in the mail today. Thanks to my friend J-Man.
All right, cool.
Forbidden's Omega. What is it called?
Nice.
Again?
It was
Omega
a record store
This
day
is
release.
a great album. Came out in 2010, and this is a record store day exclusive. I don't know if it was on vinyl back in the day.
Probably.
Oh man, do I love this album.
Oh, wow.
Widowmaker with Stand By for Pain.
Yeah.
A lot of people think this is not a good album, that the first Widowmaker was better. I disagree. I think this one's better. First Widowmaker's not bad. I dig it, but it's a little bit on the hair metal side.
Yeah.
This got really heavy. Really.
I saw them on that tour.
Nice.
Yeah, they played Raleigh. They were on CMC Records when it came out originally on CD, and which was a Raleigh based label. And but yeah, they played with Wicked Mariah and that band I was talking about the other week on the Thrash episode, Cyclone Temple. Yeah, and it was great, man. Great show. Yeah, I love both of those albums. I heard that they're trying to get the rights to do the first album, but it's just kind of in limbo about who owns the rights. I think that they were on a label when that first album came out. They were on some label called like Esquire or something, and it just kind of went belly up, and I don't think anybody really owns the rights to it.
Well, this one, only 750 were made.
Wow.
Yeah, I need to get that. Yeah, I really need to get that one on vinyl. I forgot it was even out on vinyl. Is that music on vinyl? Who did that?
Sanctuary and BMG.
The sticker on the front, does it say, it's not music on vinyl?
Yeah, music on vinyl.
Okay, yeah, that's the company that licenses it. Yeah. Yeah, they do nice reissues. They really do.
Yeah, let me show you. Very nice vinyl.
Some nice vinyl you got there.
And it brings like lyrics and
even better. We can't see it.
Great.
Vinyl is gold.
Nice. The real gold?
Real gold.
Wow. They really spend the money.
Yeah.
So thank you, J-Man.
3 carat.
2 amazing albums that I'm very happy that I have now.
They should make vinyl out of carrots.
So
if you don't like If you
Hey,
don't like it, you can
since
just
the
eat it.
Def Leppard episode, what came in your mailbox?
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff, not just in my mailbox, but on my trip and then when I got home. But the one thing that goes along with this show, I got the Pyromania box set today. And it's really, really cool. I wasn't going to get it, but you know what? I'm such a fan of this album and Def Leppard in general that I had to have it. And I got to have everything. One thing I don't have is the Hysteria box set, which I should have, but maybe one day I'll get it.
Still,
Hey, I like
why would you
Hysteria
want that?
because that album I listened to my whole entire childhood. I wore that cassette out, I don't know how many times. And I like it. There's a lot of really good songs in there, but this thing's really cool. I haven't listened to it yet. I actually just opened it now. Got this thing here. Here's the CDs. It's like the box set. They're just the CDs are in the slip cases or whatever. So that's pretty cool. And this is the booklet. I guess there's a lot of pictures in here, and I think there's like a lot of memorabilia stuff. No, just book. It's just a book.
So it's made just like this.
Man, like the first one, the
like
early years.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's very, very nicely done.
Very similar. It's just a book of all this stuff in there,
yeah.
So it's really cool. Rick Allen half naked in the bathroom there, so very cool. Glad I got that.
You got the CD version.
This is the CD version. Yes, it is. I don't think they have a box set of the vinyl version though.
No, the vinyl is only a double LP version of Pyromania, and you only get, I think the second LP has a few of the demos, but you don't get all of the demos and the live stuff like you do in the CD box.
Yeah, so it pays to buy the CD box. They had the autograph version on their website, and of course it was sold out.
It sold out pretty fast. Yeah,
Very
I missed out on that one as well.
As soon as I got the email, I went to go check it, and it was gone already. So I guess probably they have a mailing list and whatever. I was on vacation, went to Walmart. They had this there somewhere in time, and it's a yellow vinyl, and inside I only bought it because of this thing here. It's a 3D poster.
Cool.
I thought that was really cool.
It's about time Walmart made a cool vinyl. That's right? Really nice. Yeah,
it is very nice. Even the color yellow is really cool too. Taking it real quick here. Oops, sorry. Very nice, very yellow. It's piss yellow. I like it. Very cool. I was surprised to see that.
I don't know. That's more mustard yellow.
Yeah, it is more mustard yellow. I just wanted to say the word piss on YouTube.
Yeah.
King Fally had his auction things or whatever on Facebook, and I won this Avenger Prayers of Steel. Really cool vinyl.
That's Rage.
Yeah,
before they were Rage. They were
Rage, and they couldn't use that name anymore. I got this as well. This is my father-in-law's favorite band, ELP. This is Tarkus, and this is the original master recordings. It's a gold CD. Usually these things go for a lot of money. I got it for like $30, so I couldn't go wrong grabbing that. In Tennessee, I got the new Blue Oyster Cult CD. I haven't listened to it yet, obviously, because it's still in the wrapper. I don't know if anybody's gonna care about this, but new Pearl Jam, which I think is actually pretty good. I went to a flea market while I was in Tennessee and got some cassette tapes because I've been buying those lately. And guess who they are of? Kiss. I got Love Gun, Animalize, Unmasked, Dress to Kill, and Ralph's favorite, Revenge. And I'm gonna plug.
They all suck except Dress to Kill.
Yeah, well, Animalize is the best one. I'm kidding with that. And I'm gonna plug my friend, my bass player from Severed Angel. He has a band from the '80s. This is his old band called Taz, and it was just released. It's called Razor's Edge. It's from Heaven and Hell Records. You can go buy this if you like '80s, like hair metal, I guess. That's what this is. So go pick that up. It's called Taz. Really cool stuff.
I listened to some of it online. It sounds good. Yeah.
He was 80s hair band guy back in the day. So that's that. That's all I got. You got anything, Tony? What you got?
Nothing this week. Nope. No? I shut off all my new stuff last week when we were talking. But I don't think I bought anything this week.
Good. Well, it's time for us to
wait a minute. Well, wait. That's right. I did a record show on Sunday, and I picked up a couple of CDs. But it was a couple of rock candies. I got Friction by Coney Hatch, and I got one of the early Legs Diamond ones, and think that was it. I mean, it was a couple more, but they were cheap $2 CDs, so I grabbed a few.
Very cool, very cool. And tomorrow, I believe, is not record store day. Bandcamp Friday. Please, I need you people to go to severedangel.bandcamp.com and go buy the new Severed Angel CD. All right, please go do that right now.
So that's the first Friday of each month, correct?
Yeah, I believe so. Yes, and that would be tomorrow.
I did it already.
You did? Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that, and I appreciate anybody who also does it as well, because I think the album's really good, and it's we've been getting a lot of radio play now. We've been working with skateboard marketing, and apparently yesterday we were like the second most requested band on like radio stations, not just internet radio, but like real radio stations. So it's really, really cool to hear that.
Right on. That's awesome.
Is that still Muncie?
Still, yep, it's still Muncie. Yep.
Cool.
He's been friends with Lou for like 25 years, so they know each other very well. Really cool stuff. A lot of good stuff happening this year.
Def Leppard. I'll talk about my history with Def Leppard. Here in Rock Brigade on the radio in 1980. I had to own the album. I bought it, and they got some press, in the rock magazines and radio play. I mean, I just remember Rock Brigade. But I fell in love. 1980 is my favorite year of music. And that year, I don't think I played any album more than On Through the Night. I didn't play Back in Black or British Steel, First Maiden or Saxon, Angel Witch. None of them I played as much as On Through the Night. It was my favorite album back then. I wouldn't say it's my favorite 1980s album now, but I still love it a lot. And love the guitar work on that album, like on Answer to the Master. I believe only Joe Elliott was in his 20s when that shit was recorded. Everybody else was a teenager. But Rick Allen was 15 or 16. And it's amazing. These young kids came up with such an epic album. Totally epic.
Yeah.
I love On Through the Night. What do you think of it, Wayne?
Well, it's I started with Hysteria, like I mentioned first, and then I went backwards. So I heard Pyromania, then I heard High and Dry, and then I heard On Through the Night. And I was kind of like, is this even the same band? Because they are very different sounding back then on that album. Even Joe Elliott's voice is like, it's not the same. He doesn't have that raspy yet. He doesn't have that Joe Elliott voice that you remember, now. So at first I was kind of like, I don't know if I like this or not, but over time it really did start to grow on me. I don't know this some of the songs off the top of my head. Satellite is on there, right?
Yeah.
I love that song. What's that last song?
Overture, a
really cool song. I love that. That's one of my favorite Def Leppard album covers.
It's awesome, isn't it?
It's a really cool looking album cover. You have
a T-shirt with this on it somewhere.
Yeah. And
you do. I just realized. Yeah.
Even Dave Ellison kind of ripped that off for one of his things that he
did for that covers album that he did.
Yeah, but it is, after it started to really grow on me, I really did start to enjoy it, and I really understood it and where they were coming from, and I really do like the album. I think it's really great, and it's not my favorite, but it still is a really good album.
What do you think, Tony?
So I was a little late getting on board because I was kind of discovering all this music at 12, 13 years old. And Def Leppard was a band that I remember I started seeing them in magazines around when High and Dry was out. And but I remember people at school talking about Def Leppard and Pyromania. You got to get Pyromania. And we got MTV the summer of '83. So I think I would have hopped on a little earlier if we'd been a year earlier with that, because they were all over MTV. But I remember getting MTV that summer, and it seems like every couple of hours you'd see the Photograph or Rock of Ages video. I mean, they were just constantly, and they were also showing the videos, the 3 videos they did for High and Dry were in heavy rotation. And Def Leppard was just exploding at that time. And so Pyromania was the first one that I ended up getting that summer. And I went back, of course, and got High and Dry. High and Dry ended up being my favorite Def Leppard record, period. I didn't see them until Hysteria tour, though, because I really wanted to go see Def Leppard. They played in Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I knew people that were going, and I didn't end up, I couldn't go. It was Def Leppard with Crocus on the Headhunter tour, and Gary Moore, Victims of the Future, period, open. At the time, I had no clue who Gary Moore was. So if I had win, I would have been like, Gary Moore, who's this? I think I would have been blown away and would have discovered Gary Moore, 7 or 8 years before I did finally discover who he was. And he had Ian Pace on drums at that period too. That would have been really cool to see. I actually saw an interview with Rick once where they said, when did you really think that you had made it? Or what's something that hit you to say, hey, we've made it? He said when Ian Pace, one of his favorite drummers, was opening the show for him, and that was in Gary Moore's band. But yeah, I mean, I love High and Dry, and I went back and got the first album. Love that one. Those 3 albums are great. And I love Pyromania. It's polished, but it's got some great tunes on it.
So. And On Through the Night was very hard to find. I don't know if for you guys, because you found it so early, but for me, back in like probably 88, 89, it was very hard to find.
Yeah, it may have been. It was pretty easy to find, as far as I remember. I don't think I got On Through the Night until probably about like 85 or something, maybe. I finally went back and picked it up.
Yeah, I didn't even know about it because there was this music store I would go to constantly, and they had it in actually the glass case, like in there where they would sit and the people would check out or whatever. It was hidden behind the glass case, and I just happened to see it, and I'm like, "What the hell's that?" And they had like it was a little expensive too, I think at the time. So I really didn't get it because obviously I don't have money. I got to ask my parents, and they didn't really have money, so. I had a friend in school who actually did have it because I talked to him about it, but he wouldn't copy the cassette for me just so I could hear it. I'm like, really? You can't just make I know. And I never talked to him ever again. And this was in like second grade. I still haven't talked to him. Fuck him.
So if you run into him at the supermarket one day and he says, "Hey Wayne, how have you been?" I say, "Fuck you, man.
Fuck you."
Me that Def Leppard cassette, man.
So it's such a dickhead, but I eventually did get it, and I was very happy to get that.
Yeah, you were talking last week, Ralph, about the Def Leppard EP. That was the original. This was a reissue for Record Store Day.
Yeah, that's the one I got.
Yeah, it's got "Riding to the Sun," "Get Your Rocks Off," and "Overture." And we were also talking the other week about, you brought up "First Strike."
Yeah,
and that's the one that's so freaking hard to find. And there's like, these recordings have not been released on anything else, no box sets. And it's even a song here called "Heat Street," just really cool stuff. I
can't believe they didn't release anything off of that on the early years box set. It should have been on there.
Yeah, I mean, they can do whatever they want to with it. Supposedly this guy, whoever recorded it, owned the rights to it or something. I don't know.
So maybe I guess that's all.
But yeah, this is really cool if you can find this out there. Anyway, it's on YouTube. You can listen to it on YouTube.
But maybe when they finally release that Volume 4 box set, maybe all this stuff that we've never heard, like stuff from that, will finally come out. I doubt it, but
I doubt it very seriously.
I remember buying that Strikes album before it got outlawed, because I was like, "What's this?" And I recognized some of the songs. "Sorrow Is a Woman," I think's on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I bought it. I loved it. And then I heard, Def Leppard put a stop to it, so you couldn't get it anymore.
Yeah, "See the Lights" is another oddball on here.
I love "Glad I'm Alive." That's my favorite on there.
Yeah.
Should be the opening track. It makes no sense how it's the last track. But I guess because the guy's an idiot.
This is one I picked up. It was called BBC Studio Session 79, and this is some other stuff that some of this was on the box set. But it's got "Glad I'm Alive" on it. This was one of those Loudworks unofficial CDs.
They got a lot of that stuff on Amazon now too.
You remember, Ralph? Did you ever get into the old Metal Memory CDs?
Yeah. I got plenty of them. I got a really good Merciful Fate one from Eindhoven.
Yeah. This one is. This has got the recordings from the Dortmund Festival, which is that pro shock concert from the Pyromania period, and it's also got Reading Festival 1980. But it's too fast. You can. It's like Joel almost sounds like a chipmunk on it. It's a little bit too fast. Those songs, the Reading.
I have that. When I used to trade tapes, I got Reading on cassette, and whoever was that recorded added "Good Morning Freedom" at the end. I never heard that song before. I was like, "What the hell is this?" It's like one of the greatest Def Leppard songs, and it was. And then I found out later it's a B-side for "Hello America" for the first album.
Yeah,
my God, that song should have made the album. It's so good. I'd put it over "Get Your Rocks Off" and "Hello America." It's a badass song.
And then once Pyromania took off, it just seemed like it took forever for them to do the next record. Of course, they. Not just because of Rick's injury, they were having issues recording the whole album to start with. So we got High and Dry, but then they came out with this is a Japanese version, the second version of High and Dry, the remix. This one's kind of cool because they changed the colors on the Japanese one. I had to pick it up for that, but they went back and remixed High and Dry, and I don't really notice that much difference. They may have added some little reverb here and there and stuff, but then they added that new version of Bringing on the Heartbreak. It's got the keyboards in it, which I don't like. But Me and My Wine is a killer song, man. It's just a good rock and roll song. And that video was hilarious.
Yeah.
I like the keyboards. I thought the keyboards added something. I know you guys don't like keyboards. Mark Bailey brought up a funny thing. Did anybody notice Def Leppard videos were pretty much the same? Joe Elliott was always tied up, and I think that's pretty true. There's a lot of I don't know.
Have you ever noticed, Ralph? You watched those early those High and Dry era videos. Have you ever noticed how much Joe Elliott moves and poses like Phil Mogg from UFO? He's almost there was famous footage of UFO from the 77 78 period where Phil Mogg's got like a shiny looking dark shirt and white pants. Joe looks just like that, and he does this thing where he holds his mic stand and he's constantly doing this chicken arm thing like Phil does. Those guys were so influenced by UFO. And then you got Steve Clark over here just busting out all these Schenker poses, and except he's playing on a Les Paul, of course, instead of a Flying V. But yeah, they were big in the UFO. Yeah, I had a bootleg UFO T-shirts I had made once, and I brought one and gave it to Joe at one of the gigs that I went to without work.
Oh wow!
Because he said in that UFO documentary that came out, he said that I had a UFO shirt and I bought it. He said, and I washed it and the colors ran. So I was like,
Now was the same shirt you got him?
No, I just brought him one. And I brought that up that he said it. And he's like, oh, yeah, man, this is great. Thanks a lot, because I'll definitely wear this. Yeah. I had just done the back of Phenomena, the photo of the band with the logo. Just some of my own bootleg shirts. And then I sold a couple on eBay, and then somebody started bootlegging my bootlegs, and they were everywhere.
That's when you know you made it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, that's right. It's a Bringing on the Heartbreak 12-inch here.
Oh wow,
single cool. For that. It's pretty cool. I love that shot, man. Of course, you got Pete Willis, the unsung hero, Pete Willis. Yeah. So
he's still alive, right?
Yeah. He said behind the music that if he'd stayed in Def Leppard, he probably would be dead, because them firing him was actually one of the things that sobered him up.
Yeah. Last thing I heard about him, he was a realtor.
Made a lot of money from that, because he made a lot of money off Def Leppard records too. If he got his royalties,
Pyromania, he had a lot to do with Pyromania
for sure.
He played he played rhythm.
Did you ever hear that band he was in after Def Leppard? Roadhouse, yeah. Mm-hmm. The cover almost looks like On Through the Night. The album cover. I don't have that, but I'd like to pick that up sometime. Yeah.
And I remember watching that
there's
video.
the Bringing on the Heartbreak remix, but it's got Me and My Wine on it.
That Me and My Wine, is it different?
It says it's remixed, but I think it's the same thing, man. I don't notice anything different about it.
I always liked that Ringing on a Heartbreak video, and there was two of them too. There was one where they're playing like on a stage or whatever, and I think there was another one where they're like walking in the woods or something.
Yeah,
like
but
that.
that other one didn't come out till like 5 years later.
Yeah, the one because that was a European one or something.
The first one you're talking about, that's where I was saying he was dressed like Phil Mogg. They did Bringing on a Heartbreak, Let It Go, and
High and Dry.
High and Dry, yeah. Just those 3 clips. Yeah, the other one was done for the remix album where they're like in a warehouse playing or something.
Yeah.
There's another bootleg that I've got. This BBC recordings. It's all early days stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah, I love my old Def Leppard, man.
Old Def Leppard is the best.
It is. You know, I think I told a story the other week when we were on about working a show once and meeting Phil Collin and we were just talking and I said, yeah, man, I know you were on High and Dry, but that's my favorite Def Leppard record. He goes, oh man, make sure you're free tonight when we're starting the show. He said we're opening the show with side 1 of High and Dry, and they did. They played Let It Go all the way through Switch, and that's where they started the show.
That's awesome. Yeah, High and Dry for me. I heard it on the radio, Let It Go. I remember DJ said, I got new Def Leppard coming up after the break. And when he played Let It Go, my first thought was, whoa, they fired Joe Elliott. I did not think that was him. Sounded more like Brian Johnson. You know?
He does sound like Brian Johnson.
He got that rasp in his voice, which he needed. It's really good. Made them a lot better, a lot different too.
But yeah, I mean, I ended up going to buy the record, and then I saw them on the tour. They opened for Ozzy with Randy Rhoads. And I've told the story before, but I'll say it again. Back in the day, if you got seats on the floor, and I remember for the Ozzy Def Leppard, I had like row 23, and I got white out. I erased the 3, so it looked like I had row 2. And you wait till the lights go down, and then you run up where the security guards with the flashlight, quickly, not really looking. And I was all the way up front. Then I got a front row. Then I got against the railing right in front of Pete Willis and Randy Rhoads that night.
Wow.
I was on the right side. And my Def Leppard, man, it was insane how energetic that band was. I mean, they came out running, headbanging, going left and right from the stage. They were extremely entertaining. And honestly, I went to that show really for Def Leppard because I was such a fanatic. And I heard Blizzard of Oz and I loved it too. And, Ozzy's and Sabbath. So, of course, I was excited. I would have went anyway if Def Leppard wasn't playing. But I was so stoked to finally see Def Leppard. And they were awesome, man. And so Ozzy was probably the best time I heard him vocally. He sounded extremely good. And it was awesome. And yeah, I would say, unfortunately, High and Dry is my favorite Def Leppard album because I really wanted to be On Through the Night. But I can't lie to myself. When you got Mirror, Mirror and Lady Strange, my 2 favorite Def Leppard songs on that album, forget it. So, Def Leppard still wasn't huge. They were gaining traction because before Pyromania, Bringing on the Heartbreak was kind of a hit on MTV. They played a lot. They played Let It Go and High and Dry here and there, but Bringing on the Heartbreak was played a lot. This is before Pyromania. And I remember, too, back then, Pyromania was delayed. They kept delaying it. It was pissing me off, man. They finally released it. And, man, the video for Photograph, I still think that is the perfect pop rock song. I never get sick of Photograph. I just think it's fucking awesome. Perfect. It's a perfect song.
It never gets old.
Coming Under Fire is my favorite off that album.
Great song.
I don't think that's ever been played live. Stay
Probably.
Quiet, Rock Till You Drop, Die Hard to Honor. Good shit. A lot of people dismissed that album because it sold 1 billion copies. I remember at that time, this is how old I was. I was already out of school. And I got one of my first jobs was cleaning carpets with this guy that later on was, I found out he was a heroin junkie. I was working with a heroin junkie. And we used to go to the ghetto to clean carpets. I'm talking, a black family. We go into a black family's home to clean carpets, and I see right there they have a copy of Pyromania on vinyl. Even in the ghetto, the black people dug Def Leppard at that time. That's how big they were.
That's how big they were.
They were humongous. And I saw the tour Tony was talking about, but I didn't get Gary Moore. I got Def Leppard, I got Crocus, and I got an artist called John Butcher Axis. You ever heard of him?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a Jimi Hendrix clone thing. But man, I wish I could have got fucking Gary Moore.
That would have been crazy, man.
Unfortunately, Gary Moore never played down here except that Thin Lizzy Black Rose show at the Miami Highlight opening for Journey, and I was going to the show with my friend. My friend's dad was going to take us to the show, but my friend pissed off his dad at the beach. And he said, "Now you're not going to the show." And I was like, son of a bitch. I was that close to seeing Gary Moore. And Phil Lynott. I never seen Thin Lizzy.
That would have been incredible, man. That would have been incredible. Hey, so I was just looking at this. I had a original US pressing of Pyromania. This is a Japanese one. This one's on Vertigo. But the US pressing was on Polygram Mercury. The original labels that had the cityscape. Did you ever have that on vinyl? Because the original pressing I had Foolin' listed, not on the album cover, but on the label. It's listed as Foolin' Around.
Oh no.
And I saw it on a Facebook forum recently. Someone said, "Hey, is that a US pressing?"
Yeah.
Because I think even the black Mercury label says Fooling Around. See what yours says, Wayne. It's first song, side 2.
No, it just says Fooling.
Okay, yeah. Because some of the first pressings with the black Mercury label say Fooling Around as well. I didn't know that till recently.
No, believe me, I got first pressing. So my first pressing didn't have Fooling Around. Not that I remember. I would remember that.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just wondering if that's what they originally called it, and then they said the last minute they just dropped it to Foolin' and put it on the cover after they already printed the albums, But I didn't get to see them unfortunately until Hysteria, and I remember just waiting for Hysteria and waiting, and I had already graduated from school by the time it came out the summer after I graduated. And the first single released was Women. And I thought that was a kick-ass song. And then, I went out and bought Hysteria day of release, still got the freaking album.
One vinyl of theirs I don't have. Well,
and it was just a letdown. It was just so polished and so poppy. But one of my favorite songs that is on there besides Women is God's War. I thought that was a cool song. And it was a while. I mean, I think from what the history says, it was kind of drug on for a little while before it actually became like a big hit. I think a lot of people bought it out of the gate, and then it just didn't do that much until Sugar came out, I guess.
I think even after that.
But I did see him.
Years, actually.
Saw him on that tour, and Tesla opened. Tesla was a new band at the time, had Mechanical Resonance out. And it was a good show. I enjoyed it. I saw them again like a year later in LA Guns opened. So I saw them a bunch of times over the years after that. You know, even went and saw them on the what was Adrenalize tour. You know, but that's back when concert tickets were cheap. I mean, you can go to a concert for under $20, and you got people going. You're going to go hang out, party, and then they're going to. But I just remember that Adrenalize tour. They didn't play hard. I think the only old songs they played were the 3 hits from Pyromania, and that's it.
Yeah, they stopped playing all the early stuff.
Yeah,
Really, you know.
So it's been cool when they do bring a little bit of their stuff. I mean, they were bringing back. They were doing Billy's Got a Gun at one point. You know, I mean, but yeah, you just can't touch those early albums. And I couldn't see them back then. I got friends that saw them on High and Dry opening for Blackfoot.
I never got to see them. So I always listened to the CDs or the cassettes or whatever. And like I said, Hysteria was the first one. I wore that thing out so many times. I love that album. That's my first rock album, first real music I kind of listened to. So I know you guys heard Def Leppard from early on, so I understand why you don't like it. But for me, and there's a lot of songs I don't like off Hysteria, but there are more than good ones. But High and Dry, that's probably my favorite Def Leppard album. Just one good song after the other. And I was just on your favorite, one of your best friends, Ralph Mark Alden Taylor's podcast.
The remix of High and Dry on here is great. Sounds great. Really and good. So does On Through the Night. Sounds great. They did. There's a live show included from On Through the Night period, and for Record Store Day that year, they put it out on vinyl.
I have that.
This is a show from Oxford, 1980, Oxford over in the UK. Great show, and their songs. They play songs on here.
They play songs on here, really?
They play songs on here that would end up on the next 2 albums. I mean, you got Lady Strange, like an early version with like some different arrangements, and they have what is it, Medicine Man? We spoke about that, Ralph. That was it, Rock Till You Drop. Yeah, I think later. Yeah, and When the Rain Falls Down became Let It Go.
Yeah.
And it's so you get like these early versions of songs that you know, because they were headlining this show and they had to pull out everything that they had. You know, they were probably used to playing opening slots and playing for 35 minutes, and then when you got to do an hour and 10 minutes or something, they probably pulled out everything they had.
Yeah, and go back to High and Dry. Like I said, every song there is just really good. High and Dry is probably my second favorite song. I did a cover of On Through the Night with most of the Severed Angel guys that came out like 2 years ago. So go check that out. That's on YouTube. It's even we even went on a Def Leppard compilation album with that song. So that was pretty cool. But Me and My Wine, that remix, I love that song because I always had the original cassette without the bonus tracks on it. And then I don't know if you guys remember TSS. It was a big department store back in the day, and they had the remix version with that on there. And I listened to that constantly because I really loved the with the extra bonus tracks on there. And then it got Pyromania, and yeah, like you said, Ralph, with Photograph. I mean, you can't get any better, like a pop song than that. You know, from that period of time, it's just still to this day, it's still played on the radio, and it's I still don't really get sick of it. You know, I still like it.
I love it.
So it's just and what else is on that album? Billy's Got a Gun. Really good. Let's see, Foolin', Rock of Ages, Coming Under Fire. I mean, really, again, there's not any bad songs on that album. You know, it's just one good song after the other. Even yeah, Billy's Got a Gun.
Even Action, Not Words.
Yeah, that song's it's probably my least favorite, but it's not that bad. And Coming Under Fire is always on the radio lately. I don't know what that's all about. I really don't remember hearing that.
Action's actually got that guitar tone that's almost from High and Dry.
Yeah,
so that's got to be more of a Pete Willis track.
Yeah, Stage Fright 2. I love that song. It's like a deep track that I don't think they really ever play that one, but
they did do that in more recent years.
They opened the Hysteria tour with Stage Fright,
and they brought it back in recent years. You know, they did there's a live album that came out a few years ago where they did a Las Vegas residency.
Right. Okay.
And they opened for themselves, and they called the opening band Dead Flatbird. And they said, we're the best Def Leppard cover band ever. And they played stuff from the first 2 albums.
Yeah, I have that. I thought that was that's why I bought it, because I was so shocked that they played all these old songs. I'm like, holy shit! And they brought all that stuff out there, and they played them so good too. It's like, I don't want to hear new stuff no more. Just keep playing the old stuff, you know.
Oh, they got Vivian Campbell and
and that's
Phil's a good guitarist. He really is.
He is a good guitarist. Even Vivian is too, but it just sucks that when Vivian joined the band, they just got so wussified.
Oh yeah, totally.
I don't understand.
It's cool that in more recent years too, over the last 15 years or so, when you go see them live, they usually do switch live. That gives Joe a break, and they do switch, and both the guitar players come out on the catwalk, and they've got video screen behind them just showing Steve Clark, just all this footage of Steve Clark. So it's a nice tribute.
Yeah, that's cool. But yeah, when I was waiting for a Duran, like, I love Hysteria so much, and then Steve Clark died, and that really like upset me, because that was my first like rock star dying, and then waiting for Adrenalize, because he was on the album, and I couldn't wait to hear what was going to be on there. And then when they released Let's Get Rocked, is it Let's Get Rocked?
Yeah,
I think that was the first single.
That was the first single, and I was like, what the hell is this? I'm like, oh my god, this is.
That's when I gave up.
Yeah. I still gave it a chance.
Then I didn't care.
And then they follow it up with Make Love Like
a Man. I'm like, really?
I was like, fuck this band. I'm done.
I was like, what the fuck is this?
I saw like Tony. I saw Hysteria with Tesla. It wasn't in the round though, because they played Sportatorium, which didn't have the floor that big, so they played normally, like any other band. But then I saw Let's Get Rocked and Make Love Like a Man. Never went to see Def Leppard again till like 2015 or something, maybe even earlier than that. Only because Styx and Tesla were on the bill. I didn't really go for Def Leppard. Def Leppard was headlining. Fuck it. I'm a big Styx fan. I dig some Tesla, so I went because of that with a girl, and she liked Def Leppard. So I stuck around to watch Def Leppard, and wasn't that bad, but I mean, the best part of the Def Leppard show was the drum solo. I shit you not. Yeah. Rick Allen did a drum solo, and it was pretty damn good.
Wow.
And they did do Switch that night. That was like, but that's it. They didn't play. Yeah, I think they did do Bring On the Heartbreak, but no Let It Go or nothing off the first 2 albums.
And then
the last thing that I was going to say, the last thing I've ever even picked up from them was those covers albums that they did. Yeah, it was like it was like a bonus disc you could get at Walmart only. They did some cool covers on it, man. They did some neat stuff. I mean, not like a lot of metal stuff, but they just did some cool covers.
Stuff that inspired them when they started. But then they released that song "Heaven Is." I was like, oh my god! But the only good song on that Adrenalize album is "White Lightning." That's a really heavy song, and it's the only good one on there. And after that, I was like,
I'll tell you something weird about the biggest selling rock albums: Hysteria, Back in Black, and Guns N' Roses. Those 3 albums took like a year for it to take off, each of them. Back in Black wasn't popular till You Shook Me All Night Long was released like a year later. They came down here. I guess I talked about this recently on another podcast. They came down here and they played the West Palm Beach Auditorium, which is not that big. And I was too young, and West Palm Beach is way too far for me. I couldn't go. Fast forward, about a year later, they're all over the radio. It shook me all night long. That WSHE, this local radio station, opened a petition to get ATDC to come. And I was like, y'all should have went to the West Palm Beach show. I was aware of ACDC back then, And then when they came back they didn't come for Back in Black. So they came back for Those About to Rock, and they played the huge Hollywood Sportatorium, So
it's amazing.
Guns N' Roses, same thing. That shit was out for like 8 months before it took off. And Hysteria was a bomb. because that shit took like 13 million bucks. They made like maybe 2 million off it, not even. So they were writing it off as like a huge bomb.
Yeah, I think a lot of people bought it out of the gate just because they were waiting for this album to come out. But then there was a lot of people who, like myself, had kind of moved on to other stuff, like heavier stuff like Metallica had come into play since Pyromania and stuff like that. But you know, I still went out and got it that week, you know. But I know there was a lot of people. I had friends that was like, "Oh, screw Def Leppard now," you know, and didn't go get it. So, but they ended up having what, like 6, 7 top 10 hits off of it before it was all said and done. Yeah,
something like that.
But yeah, they had Pour Some Sugar on Me. I remember the first time hearing that, I'm like, now that could be a hit. I mean, that's a hit song. It's kooky as all get out, but you know, it's a strip club classic.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is that after women got some sales. People were, I gotta get this.
Yeah.
But then the next single was Animal. It didn't do too well. Then Hysteria didn't do too well. Then Pour Some Sugar on Me exploded. And then they released Armageddon It, and that exploded. Then they released Love Bites, which was a #1 song.
I hate that song.
I do too. And then they released
Rocket.
And they all did really good. You know?
I always I do kind of like Rocket. I like the lyrics when they're naming all the old glam bands and stuff. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, I used to love that song because of the drumming intro too. I love that. That's what got me into wanting to be a drummer too. Just that song, that intro to that song. I'm like, I want to do that.
So, you know? JMJ said Phil Collins said Hysteria had to sell 5 million copies just to break even. I believe it for sure.
And it didn't. It didn't sell 5 million for like a year. So they were like, uh-oh.
I mean, they spent a lot of studio time. I mean, it was really expensive back then. They probably were all on like retainers from the record company, probably paying their bills. And then Rick Allen has his car wreck, and it's no telling how much debt they were in, you know. People don't even take in consideration the extravagant amounts of money that were thrown into projects back then. I mean, look at the whole Whitesnake 87 record is another prime example where David Coverdale was pretty much broke. He was living on the record company dime, you know, and if this record tanks, that's it. That was his career, you know.
Yeah. And I remember reading somewhere that Rick Allen didn't play on that album, Hysteria. It's all drum machines.
Well, I think he did some original tracks because some of it was recorded before he had his accident.
Well, but actually, Pyromania's drum machine
down there too. Yeah, because on I think it's Photograph, right, where they got that weird.
But didn't he program them?
No, it's the whole album. Rick Allen was pissed off. He didn't play on Pyromania. It's all drum machine.
Yeah.
I thought he programmed them.
There's a drum roll in I think it's Photograph, and it sounds like there's like 4 drums being hit at once. It's ridiculous. And somebody did go over it on YouTube in a video, and it's like, that's not real.
That was the 80s, and then they were working with Mutt Lange, so it's no telling what he was pushing them, you know, for more pop sensibility in their music.
Texas Troy's got a question. Does anybody like any Def Leppard album after Adrenalize?
I don't like any Def Leppard album after Pyromania.
Really?
I like a song or two. I've heard some stuff here and there that was okay. But I'm not a big fan. I own, like I said, I bought that Covers album mainly because they did Don't Believe a Word from Thin Lizzy on it. I am disappointed that they didn't do any UFO on it as much as they claimed that they're UFO fans. I think the only other CD I own by them is Euphoria, and I think I got that for free, and I just kept it because it was a couple of good. I thought that song Promises was a good Shania Twain song covered by Def Leppard.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I like Retroactive.
I have heard, not willingly, every single Def Leppard album because, you know, my awesome viewers out there requested me to do track by tracks with that. The worst out of all of them is the album called X.
X, yeah.
That was like a boy band album.
Yeah.
Never heard that.
Never heard that. The last
about Slang. Slang was like they were kind of being an alternative band or something.
Yeah, that sucked.
I really do like Slang. I like it because
That-
it's dark. It doesn't sound like Def Leppard, and they're trying something new.
That's what someone told me once. They said you should. Some of us we were talking about bands changing their sound so much. We're talking about Motley Crue with Karabi, and the guy said, "Man, if you've never listened to Slang, you need to listen to it with open ears because it just doesn't sound like a Def Leppard record. But it's like a good album.
It really is good, except for the song
have.
Slang. Do not listen to the song Slang. It's as bad as Let's Put the
Was
X
that
in
the
Six.
video? Was that the song they had the video for?
I don't know if they did.
I just remember seeing a video from it, and they looked. I don't know. They looked like I don't know, like some alt rock band in the video. It was like they were trying to be lit or something. I don't know. It's just,
but I like Retroactive,
Counting Crows or whatever.
Yeah, I like Retroactive because they went back and re-recorded some of the older songs that were never released, like from demos and stuff like that. So that album's pretty cool. There's some good stuff on there.
Oh, Retroactive. I do own that. Yeah. I do have that. I kind of count that as old stuff though, because it is a lot of old demos and
there's a lot of old demos, but they re-recorded a lot of it too. So
yeah, there was some good stuff on that for sure.
And what was the other? The new album's not too bad too, but Sparkle Islands is the second worst after X.
And the new album sucks.
There's some decent songs
Diamond
on there.
Halo? Oh
yeah, Diamond Halo's right. We reviewed that on the
I have
review.
It's
not that bad.
I have some CD burns of a couple things that Joe had a band called the Cybernauts with a couple of guys from Spider from Mars with Trevor Bolder and all, and they're doing a bunch of like Bowie stuff. That's pretty cool. And then he's got this band called the Down and Outs where he plays the old Mott and Hoople covers and stuff, and that's pretty kick-ass. He actually does some Mott stuff, which is post Ian Hunter Mott the Hoople when they had Nigel Benjamin singing. That's pretty cool as well. But that's getting away from Def Leppard. But that's for their side projects, you know. I don't think Phil Collins did do a side project, didn't he? Have a band? He had that band with Man Rays something.
Yeah.
I never heard that.
Mm-mm.
No, I never heard it.
That was him and the bassist that was in Girl with him and Phil Lewis before he joined. I heard that Phil turned Iron Maiden down twice to join Iron Maiden. He was the original choice to join Iron Maiden before they got Adrian Smith.
Wow. Thank
God. He was in Girl.
Adrian Smith tried out for Def Leppard.
Yeah.
And Vivian Campbell got the slot.
And so did John Sykes. They said they worked with John Sykes for like a week. Now, could you imagine if they had taken John Sykes in? Because it would have never worked. Because his sound is too big. I mean, he would have been like, they would have been like, we're not using any amps on stage, John. Everything's run direct. He'd be like, no. And, you know, you've all heard the story about him wanting to fly his rig in to do those eighth notes on the White Snake recording, and they had to bring in what's his name, Dan Huff, to do them because they didn't want to fly his rig in. But yeah, Sykes would have never played without Marshalls on stage, and I just don't see that ever working out at all. Now, if they had brought him in, and he had influenced them to have a heavier sound, that'd have been choice, but that wasn't going to happen.
Neil says Man Rays had Paul Cook from the Sex Pistols on drums.
That's right, Paul Cook, and like I said, the bass player I think was from Girl, the guy from Girl. Have you ever listened to that Girl stuff?
Sheer Greed.
Sheer Greed. Yeah.
I bought it in LA for $1, and it had a cover of "Do You Love Me," and I was like, "Oh, I bought it for that." And then I loved Hollywood Tease so much. And then when LA Guns released the first album, they re-recorded it.
Mm-hmm.
That's a badass song. Girls version I like more, but LA Guns version is still really good. That's a good album. The Sheer Greed, it's good.
Yeah. Vivian's done. Vivian did one solo record before he did the Last in Line stuff.
And he did a band with Luke Graham.
Yeah, that was before Def Leppard, actually. Yeah, he had that band Shadow King.
Then the River Dogs.
River Dogs, yeah. I've never listened to that Shadow King all the way through. I remember a friend had it and played it, and I was like, I didn't really care much for it. I was expecting more, I think, from it being Lou Gramm and Vivian Campbell. But it's something I'd like to go back and listen to again. I might have a different outlook on it now. But yeah, Vivian did an album in the early 2000s through Sanctuary, and it was like his take on kind of a blues rock album. It's kind of like him trying to be Gary Moore in a way. It's not bad for what it is. Vivian's such a good guitar player, and that was the good thing about seeing him come back out with Last in Line, because you get to see Vivian Campbell shred, and he comes out and he's got a Ingle cabinet. He's playing the Les Paul, the Holy Diver Les Paul, and he's got a couple of pedals, and he sounds amazing. Because Def Leppard they run everything direct, and they use all effects. I saw an interview with Vivian once. They said, ask him what kind of effects he had in his rack, and he goes, I don't know, ask my tech.
Yeah,
it's such a shame though.
Out of the millions of shows I've seen, one of the greatest shows I ever saw in my life was Last in Line. Played a pre-cruise show at the Miami Casino. It was mind-blowing good. Because I really liked Heavy Crown, the first album.
Great album, yeah.
Really good. I wasn't too impressed with the second one. I still haven't heard the third one.
The second EP, yeah.
No, the second one was a full-length album.
Yeah, the newest one is a more of an EP.
Okay. I
do the work. Yeah.
But, my God. And that was the last show with Jimmy Bain.
Yep, because he died on the
cruise and died. And he died of lung cancer without getting treated. That must have been a painful death, because he hit it.
Yeah, he had to have known,
He had lung cancer and got no medical help from it.
Wow.
Who knows how long he had that cancer? And man, I'm telling you, that night I saw him and he looked like death. I was like, fuck, man, Jimmy Bain don't look good.
He played like $1 million, I'm sure.
He played fine.
Yeah.
He played fine. It was kick-ass, doing all those old Dio songs and sprinkling it with some of the Heavy Crown stuff. It was one of the greatest shows I've ever seen in my life. I can't express how amazing Vivian was that night shredding. It was unbelievable. And that singer is good.
Yeah, he does the stuff very well. He does well on the Dio stuff because he doesn't try to be Dio. He sings it in his own style, but he can do it. Yeah.
Andrew.
Yeah, I'll see them this weekend at M3. I'm looking forward to seeing them again.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I agree with this, but Motley Fan says no other band has delivered a better first 4 album release than Def Leppard. I don't agree with
First 3 is great, but I wouldn't say that they're the top of that list.
I have 2 words for you. Van Halen.
Yeah, Van Halen, big time.
I don't even think Van Halen.
Van Halen, first 4
albums. You got Metallica, you got Iron Maiden.
First 4 albums, those bands. Iron Maiden's first 4 albums, I put above Leppard. Though the first 3 Def Leppard albums are fucking awesome.
Yeah, they are.
For sure. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing this. I want to hear these demos from Pyromania. Man, I'm gonna have to get that set because
all the demos are on the CD version.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got to get the CD version then. I don't want to buy the vinyl if it doesn't have everything.
No, there's no sense to buy the vinyl.
Yeah, I might get both. You know me.
I bought the Pyromania that brought the LA show.
Yeah.
That Brian Mays on Traveling Man.
Mm-hmm.
I bought that CD that brought that extra CD. So, I would like to get that full show. That full show is not on the box.
What show is it?
The LA Forum, I believe it was.
Live at the LA Forum USA. Yeah,
1993. But I know it's on the CD, but I don't know if the full show is on the vinyl.
No.
It's probably not.
That's gay, man. I would not buy that.
Mm-hmm.
And by the way, by me saying gay, I mean it in a bad way.
I kind of wanted the original vinyl that they were showing that you could pre-order, and I think like one of the LPs is black and one's yellow or something. I kind of wanted to get that, but I think it's sold out. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing those demos because Pete Willis is all over it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of demos and outtakes and rough mixes, and even some stuff Untitled 1, Untitled 2, and Untitled 3, Untitled 4, Untitled 5, Untitled 6.
Love
What
stuff
are
like
those?
that. That's always the greatest.
So we'll find out what that is.
It's great when you hear stuff like that, and they turn into other songs later. You hear riffs that become other songs and stuff. That's always cool.
Someone wants to know if I'm doing another King Diamond podcast. King Diamond is done for now until the next album comes out, either Merciful Fate or King Diamond. But I did want to do like a trivia show with everybody. But
we will be reviewing the next King Diamond album in 10 years.
Yeah, in 10 years. Yeah.
And
maybe
you could review that new single that just came out. Yeah.
We did
do that. We did everything.
We did All Fate, right?
Yep.
All Fate and All King Diamond.
Everything.
Have you heard this band Addict that sounds like King Diamond?
Yes, I love them. They're all.
I don't like them.
My friend saw them at Hell's Heroes. He's like, yeah, totally King Diamond.
I don't like that. I don't think they sound that.
Hey, is that band Thriller playing that festival? Somebody keeps. I've seen 3 or 4 people write, "Oh, I'm seeing Thriller at so and so festival."
I don't know.
Fucking awesome, man. I'm glad they got on some festival.
Who?
Thriller.
Oh yeah. You were talking about them, yeah.
Hysteria versus Paranoid album.
But better make sure it's not a Michael Jackson tribute band playing on the festival.
I like that too.
I had a friend that got excited because he saw where the Four Horsemen were playing a show somewhere, and I was like, dude, that's not happening. Frank Starr's dead and the drummer's dead. And he was like, and then he found out it was a Metallica tribute band. He was so disappointed.
I was about to say that was a Metallica tribute band.
Yeah.
When I saw Metallica, the last time I saw them, they only played songs from their first 2 albums. It was the Marsha.
The one with Raven.
Yeah.
John and Marsha's tribute show.
Yeah, I saw that show, and the 2 songs they played, on nothing but the first 2 albums. They played Blitzkrieg and Am I Evil?
Mm-hmm.
And as expected, they didn't play Escape. That's the only song they didn't play on Ride the Lightning. But on Kill 'Em All, they didn't play the Four Horsemen and Jump in the Fire.
Really?
2 songs Mustaine wrote.
Wow.
Makes you think, huh?
Yeah. Very shocking.
I've seen them play Jump in the Fire and Four Horsemen on previous shows, but so I'm not bummed about it. But yeah, I would love to see Escape. God, I love that song.
They did play it though.
They played it on that when they did the whole album.
But they played it just once.
Yeah.
And they hated it. it.
I like that song. I don't know. I can understand why they didn't like it because it doesn't sound like Metallica, but it's a good song. I love that song. It's really good.
JMJ brought up a thing here that says Vivian Campbell doesn't speak highly of Ronnie James Dio. Do you gentlemen know anything about Ronnie James Dio? If he was difficult to work with? From what I got out of that, from hearing, from just reading what Vivian says, and they were both, Ronnie and Vivian were throwing just a lot of just negativity towards each other through the years. But Vivian said more in recent, I think Vivian did a little soul searching when he had his own cancer battle. And he said that, being in a band with Ronnie was like being in a band with your dad, because Ronnie was, 20 years or more older than Vivian at the time. That because Ronnie was probably about pushing 45 by the time Holy Diver came out. Vivian was like 20, so it's kind of like being in a band with your dad, he said, and basically Vivian was pissed because he didn't get the deal that was promised to him originally about the band taking a cut of everything after the 3rd album. And I blame that on Wendy, and Ronnie, he didn't work things out with his wife over that situation. But a lot of people don't know Ronnie and Wendy were just manager and client. They were divorced by then. And it's a lot of stuff that just not out there. But Vivian said that he feels like if years later, if he and Ronnie had just bumped into each other, they'd have probably said, hey, fuck you, and then say, let's go to the bar and have a beer and talk this out. He said, and they would probably been cool, once if they could just get in a room and talk. It just never happened. That never happened.
There was a while Vivian hated it.
Oh, yeah. I know a guy that told me that he met Vivian on a Def Leppard show and brought some Dio records to get autographed. And Vivian was like, just talking crap, like, I never made anything playing in this band and all, but he signed the stuff, But like I said, man, I think Vivian was just he was still pissed off about the situation. And I think once he had his own battle with his, health and stuff, that he did a little soul searching, and he's just cool with the way things are. And that's why he reached out to those guys and wanted to play those songs again. He reached out to Vinny and Jimmy and all. And that's good that they got to do that before Jimmy died,
Oh, yeah.
But
that had the whole lineup that night with Jimmy Bain. My God, what I should have stuck around and met them, because I never got to meet Jimmy Bain or any of them. Oh yeah, I met Vinny a piece in an elevator in Nashville, and I was like, dude, I saw you at the Miami High Line 1980s. Like, how would I remember that, man? And I go, I saw Jimmy Bain's last show at Miami Casino. Oh, I remember that,
I remember going to see him on the, I think it was on the Killing the Dragon tour, maybe it was the one before it. I know Jimmy came back to the band and Craig was still on guitar. So it may have been the end of Magica, but Jimmy was back on bass. I remember we were going to see him at this club, and me and a buddy of mine, and we were pulling up to this hotel to stop and get a room, and Dio just happened to be staying there, the band, and it's like this dude, it was almost dark, and this dude is darting through the parking lot, staggering through the parking lot. My friend almost hit him with the car, and he's like, "Fuck!" This dude ran out in front of me. I went, "Dude, that was Jimmy Bain." He almost hit Jimmy Bain. Wow. But we got to meet him that night. That was cool, and met him later. I think during Killing the Dragon tour, met him as well, and that was cool. But yeah, Jimmy was cool. Everybody was always cool in that band. I remember we went to see Last in Line, and it was when that first album had came out, and we were hanging out. They did a little meet and greet before the show. You could pay. It was it wasn't much. So we went and did it, and I brought some stuff to get signed and stuff, and Vinny comes out. Vinny's talking to us, and I said, yeah, we just came up. We came from North Carolina to see this. This is at the Chance Theater in Poughkeepsie, New York. So yeah, we came up from North Carolina. He goes, "Oh, really? Well, we're playing North Carolina tomorrow night." And I'm like, "Really?" And he goes, "No, I'm just fucking with you." Yeah,
I played at the Chance Theater.
Yeah, it's a cool place. The only time I ever went, and it was great.
Yeah, pretty cool stage. I remember.
Yeah, they sadly they closed down this past year. And really? Legendary Club. I hear rumors are going to reopen though.
They're closing down Legendary Club down here. Revolution. Dio played there. Merciful Fate played there. In the Shadows, and Rob Halford Fight played there, and Thrasher Die played there. And the night I was on that stage, I said, on this stage was King Diamond, Rob Halford, Ronnie James Dio, and now me.
Dr. Fuck.
4 legendary motherfuckers have stood on this stage. Hell yeah. But
and now look where you are.
That club. Man, I've been going to that club since 90 or 89. I saw Vulgar Display of Power. I saw Master of the Moon there. Oh, man. So Iron Maiden, X Factor was there.
Wow.
So many killer shows.
Forgot Maiden did clubs with Blaze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good times, man, because those were the dark years of metal that I saw Judas Priest at a club 2 times at a club. And the thing about that is you go to these shows and everybody that was there were true metalheads.
Exactly.
Because everybody else gave up on it. Everybody, all my friends, they weren't there. None of those fuckers that I went to arenas to see Dio, Priest, and Maiden, none of those motherfuckers went, you know? But when Maiden started playing arenas again and Judas Priest bigger halls, there they all are again. Because it's cool now. You know, a bunch of posers. I was there at all of them.
Yeah, that was definitely it was dark days, but it was cool for us because we got to see these bands up close and personal. You know, it was crazy. You know, I never thought I'd see Dio in a club. You know, I saw him the first time I saw him solo. I mean, first time I saw him not solo, but after the heyday. My only Dio arena show was Dream Evil tour, but then I saw him at Jack's, and he's on this little stage at Jack's. Man, you just like reach right up and touch him, man. It's crazy. You know,
I saw Anthrax at Jack's.
Yeah, saw a lot of good shows there. Saw Motorhead, Wasp, so many. I mean, the '90s, man. It was just it was a crazy time for metal, that's for sure, for the classic bands.
Well, even later too. I remember seeing Manowar, and they played at a little tiny club here. And I always
saw
see the
Manowar
videos.
at Jack's.
Really, and I always remember seeing the videos of all the fire and all the pyro stuff going off, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to see something at this place, and there was like maybe 12 people there. I'm like, they're not going to put on no show here. It was so embarrassing, but they put on a good show. They still put on a good show.
You know, man, it's like you get to mingle with the true metalhead.
Yeah.
I saw Motorhead and Wasp at Jack's, and they were co-headlining, so each night they would flip-flop who closed. And that night Wasp closed, so Motorhead played first. Of course, there was a couple of local bands or regional bands opened the show, but of course Motorhead played before Wasp. And Lemmy just came right out to the bar at the club and just sat at the bar, and while Wasp was playing, and people were coming up talking to him and buying him shots, and he was digging it, you know.
Nice.
Awesome. Cool times.
All right, anybody else talking there, Wayne? Because
of course, there's a lot of cool people talking here. What did you guys think of the Pete Willis band, the late '80s? We talked about that earlier.
You know, that band you were talking about was called Roadhouse. That kind of sounded a little like he was trying to sound like Hysteria, if I remember right. It's been years since I've heard that.
I can't remember.
It was very, very commercial.
Then there was that Gomagog. That wasn't too good. I don't like that.
That was that was Pete Willis, Yannick Gears,
Paul Di'Anno,
Cloud Burr. Yeah, I remember meeting Paul Di'Anno once, and a friend of mine, he was signing albums, and my friend sent me a bunch of records to get signed, and that was one of them. He goes, "Oh God, you've got this bloody thing. This is horrible."
Meanwhile, Mike, Hysteria versus Paranoid album.
Paranoid, Black Sabbath.
Yeah.
Oh, Hysteria is way better than anything Black Sabbath ever done.
I think so too.
Hysteria changed the world.
Yeah.
I did on this channel here. It was on April Fool's Day. I made a video about Hysteria. And I said through the video how it's the greatest thing ever and it saved the world. You know, it brought peace to the Middle East and all. Yeah.
They broke down the wall too, right? The Berlin Wall.
Yeah. They broke down the Berlin Wall and gave OJ cancer.
Wow! Thank God. Thank God he's gone now. Huh?
Hysteria did
that. Just people randomly talking here. I don't think there's anything. Songs from the Sparkle Lounge was decent. Get the hell out of here. The show's over.
Go listen to that.
I'm actually going to block that guy. He can't watch the show anymore. I'm kidding.
Desert Song, best song on Retroactive. Yeah, that was a good song. I do remember that. Desert Song was on Retroactive. That was a cool song. Yeah. If you've never heard that, Ralph, check that out online or something. Listen to it. Some cool stuff.
Yeah, Retroactive is really cool. It's got. Yeah.
I forget about that, man. That was some cool stuff.
What the hell is on that?
I was the biggest Def Leppard fanatic all the way up to Pyromania. And I, like everybody, was waiting for Hysteria. When I first heard that album, I couldn't believe what I was hearing.
Let's see.
I guess that's a good comparison to say, like when somebody heard the Black Album from Metallica the first time, you know, a diehard Master Puppets fan, you know.
I heard Metallica, the Black Album, first time. I didn't like it at all. but it didn't fuck me up like Hysteria did, though. I mean,
No, it is a big
his
difference.
Black Album's not good, but Hysteria was different because it took so long to make.
Yeah.
And this is what the outcome? Oh, get the fuck out of here. That's a horrible album. You know what song's good on there? One of the B-sides, Tear It Down. That was the best song on the thing, and it was a B-side. To Women, I think.
But
Tear It Down's a badass song, but it didn't make the album.
It doesn't sound like the rest of the album. That's why.
Yeah, because it rocks.
100 Hooker said he saw Def Leppard 1983 LA Forum with Uriah Heep opening. That would have been cool. That must have been around like head first period or Abominog or something like that.
I saw Abominog open for Screaming for Vengeance.
Wow, that'd be cool. Yep. Great singer on that album, Pete Goldby.
But definitely check out Retroactive. There's really cool songs. Desert Song, Fractured Love is really cool. Action's okay. Where's the other song? Ring of Fire.
Action's a cover they did of the Sweet.
Yeah. Ring of Fire is a really good song. There's some other good stuff. Right Into the Sun, it's a re-recording from '87. And there's some other stuff in there that's kind of shitty, but there's some decent stuff on there. I think you might like something.
Right Into the Sun, man. That's a good. That definitely would have fit on the first album.
It would have.
Good riff rock, very very new wave of British metal sounding.
It was on the EP.
It was. You know, I one little tidbit I would say about Joe Elliott just hates people say that Def Leppard was a new wave of British heavy metal band. They were. He says we had more in common with Duran Duran than Saxon.
No, they didn't.
No, not at the time. Not at all. Not at those first two records.
No way. Not even Pyromania was Duran Duran. Come on.
No.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Duran Duran sucks.
Yeah. Favorite Def Leppard deep cut.
Coming Under Fire. And Answer to the Master.
No, Lady Strange.
No. Lady Strange, my favorite.
Yeah, I love that song. Man.
And Mirror. But no is a killer deep cut.
And I like
I love You Got Me
Running, man. You Got Me Running. That's a great song.
You Got Me Running.
There was a Def Leppard tribute album that came out when what was that label? I think it was Cleopatra. We're putting out all those different tribute albums, and it'd be like, all stars of 80s rock covering songs. And there was a cover on there of You Got Me Running. And I don't remember who the band was, but the singer was Corey Clark from Warrior Soul. And he sang, they must have just gave him the lyrics, and he sang it like he'd never heard it before. He's not singing it in the pattern that Joe Elliott sings. He's just kind of like winging it, but it works. And it's one of the best covers on the album.
I'll check it out.
My favorite deep track is On Through the Night. Not only because I covered it, just because it's a really good song. Somebody says, do you think
that's a good trivia? That's a good one. You put in name a song that was on an album that wasn't on the album with the same title.
Yes.
Like Houses of the Holy or something.
Houses of the Holy.
Yeah.
Do you guys think Def Leppard still has the potential to make another killer album with the first three?
I don't think so.
I think they do. They just won't do it. They can play these songs. They can play those songs perfectly now. So they can do it. They just don't want to.
No.
I believe they could.
If they brought Pete Willis back and said, "Hey, let's do something with Pete,"
and Frank Noon.
Yeah.
That's right. He is Def Leppard. No
Wayne
Frank
Noon could do it as
Frank
well.
Noon, no Def Leppard.
Change your name to Frank.
I don't like Frank.
Yeah, do it for Def Leppard. Do it for the good of 10-armed Def Leppard.
I should do a Def Leppard tribute band.
Rick Allen needs to be replaced by some guy with 2 arms.
There's a Def Leppard tribute band out that I believe has a 1-arm.
2 arms.
Wow.
I don't know if he really is, or if he
be.
just doesn't use one.
I gotta look into it. I'll tell you the freakiest, everybody out there. If you like the Ramones, you will not believe this tribute band called the Gramones with a G. It's like Joey Ramone didn't die. The dude looks like Joey Ramone and sings identical. And you know, Joey Ramone had that really unique voice.
Yeah.
This guy not only sings exactly like Joey Ramone, looks like him too. Check it out after this show. The Ramones.
Ramones.
It's insane how much this guy sounds like Joey Ramone and looks like him.
Mean Metal Mike says his mom saw Sammy Hagar open for Def Leppard in the late 90s.
Oh, I thought Sammy Hagar didn't open for anybody since 1979. Oh, that's right. I saw him open for Journey and Aerosmith and Billy Squier, and I think Bryan Adams and Sammy Hagar was opening. And I also saw.
Are you saying that Sammy lies?
Yeah, yeah.
No, stop
and the Aerosmith, like 15 years ago, he opened for Aerosmith. And a quick thing, I did a news report on Sammy Hagar. You know, they have a Walk of Fame, a star now for Sammy Hagar. I did a story about it, and so many people left comments saying, "Are you aware he had to pay for that?" Like, they don't give the star away anymore to any. You know, back in the day, if you got a Walk of Fame star, you know, you got to go to the Chamber of Commerce. Now, if you got the money, you can pay them to put a star, and that's what Sammy Hagar did. He just got a star, and people are. Let me tell you, man, Sammy Hagar fans are idiots, because I see this shit and people are leaving comments. You deserve it, Sammy. He pays for it, you idiot. God damn.
Did not know that.
That's what tequila money will buy you.
Oh, he's got a lot of money. That's one thing I will not argue. But how would he have? How the hell could he sell that tequila for millions and millions of dollars if he didn't have some Vangina money to buy that vodka in the first place? If he had, I can't drive 55 money, no, he wouldn't have been able to buy shit. You know, fuck, Sammy Hagar sucks.
John Tyler Browning asked, "What are y'all's thoughts on metalcore?" I like apple core. I prefer apple core.
I don't like. Yeah,
you're not supposed to eat an apple core. It's
the only core
you can look at it.
Hardcore, like Age of Quarrel. What's the name of that band? Age of Quarrel.
Cro-Mags.
Fucking Cro-Mags rule.
Yeah.
Leeway. Awesome band.
Yeah, I'm not into metalcore.
Oh man, what was the name of that one band? God damn it.
If you like it, more power to you. I just don't want to be near the pit when that stuff and those guys start doing that karate and
yeah. Crumb Suckers. That was a good band, the Crumb Suckers.
Yeah, and they later go on to do Propane.
That's right. And I opened for Propane.
Propane had the greatest riffs.
Propane and Propane
those guys
accessories.
were riff masters, man.
I had them sign my what is it called? King of Dreams or something like that. The Crumb Suckers album. Something of Dreams.
I forgot. Beast on My Back.
No idea.
They liked my band. They were very nice guys.
Oh yeah, they were super cool. Saw them a bunch of times. They played North Carolina all the time during the '90s, late '90s.
Trail Hiker wants to know what we think of the new Slipknot masks. Don't care.
Not seen them.
Oh, I don't even know what they look like.
I don't even know who Slipknot is.
Slipknot is the worst band. I listen to Slipknot and I miss Sammy Hagar.
I heard Slipknot did try to get Sammy Hagar to play drums.
They should have got it.
Slammy, he turned that down. So, no karate in the pit. I love.
You could have Sammy Hagar mask. That would be really scary.
I got a Sammy Hagar suck shirt. I'll wear it on a future episode.
Propane.
I'm going to be wearing it to the Raven show. My Sammy Hagar suck shirt. I'll either wear.
I saw Raven the other night with Vicious Rumors. Great show. And like I said, talked with John and told him that we had this podcast going live on Thursdays. He said, "Yeah, he's got a little break between tours. Get up with him, so we'll get him on here one Thursday night."
Did you mention me?
Yes,
he knows me, right?
Yeah, he knew exactly what I said. Dr. Fuck, he knew exactly what it was. I said Ralph. Dr. Fuck is yeah. So yeah, they were great, man. They were great show the other night, man. Vicious Rumors, man. If you get a chance to see this latest tour, man, Vicious Rumors were. They were top notch, man. They were
I'm seeing
great.
it Saturday, dude. I'm going
Yep.
Saturday.
With the opening band, Wicked, they're like total like glam rock, man. They kicked ass, just fun rock and roll. The second band was from Canada, female fronted kind of death metal type band. They were called Lothario, I think's the name of them. But the girl that sings had strep throat, so they actually just came out and played as an instrumental the other night, and the guitar player tried to sing a couple of tracks, but they did what they did. They didn't cancel. It was cool. And like I said, Vicious Rumors were great. Raven never disappoints.
I can't wait for Saturday. And then the week after that, I got Queensryche and Armored Saint.
They're playing here on Friday, and tickets are $30. I really like to go, but nobody wants to go with me.
That's good price for a ticket, man.
That's a very good price.
Yeah, I'll see Queensryche at M3 this weekend, but they're not doing they already said they're not going to do the legacy set like you're going to see. They're going to do a best of set because it's a festival. But I wish they had put Armored Saint on the bill, because there's a couple bands that could have got booted and they could have had Armored Saint instead. It would have been
I really want to see Armored Saint. I really want to see them.
We saw them with Wasp the other year, and that was one of the few bands I'd never seen was Armored Saint.
You just bringing up Wasp, that reminds me. Yesterday, we had a guest on Rat Saddle Review, a band called Images of Eden. And when Wasp just did that reunion tour, like what was it, like 2 years ago, whatever, the first 3 nights of the Wasp tour, they opened up for Wasp. The third show, they got kicked off of the tour, all because someone in their group took a picture of Blackie Lawless.
What, without Blackie knowing?
Yeah.
What a prick.
So they got stranded in some other country in the middle of this tour. The third show, all because somebody took a picture. It wasn't like in a contract or anything. Don't take a picture of them. It's just said, don't bother Blackie or whatever, and just leave him alone. But somebody, I guess, took a picture of him without knowing, and somebody found out, and gone, done with the tour.
Wow.
What a shame.
Yeah.
What a shame to be a prick.
Yep, everybody can go watch that episode. It was on yesterday, Rat Saddle Review. Very cool band. I mean, they're Christian metal. If you guys like Christian metal, I'm not too big on Christian metal, but they're really cool. They've been around for a very long time.
Well, I want to recommend an amazing Christian metal band.
Who's that?
They're called Saint.
Yeah.
Sooner or later.
They've been around since '85, and they released, I don't know, like 15 albums. They're all great, but man, my favorite Saint albums are the last 2. The Calf and Heaven Fell. Check out those 2 albums. It's fucking amazing.
Yeah, I've got some of their earlier records, early days, 80s stuff.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Band.
Good stuff.
Someone asked if anybody bought the Pyromania Deluxe. Yes, I did, right here. And I believe these guys are going to buy it too. But I got mine today.
Show, dude. He showed it off.
Rewind the show, man. Go watch everything that we did in the beginning, and then also too, if you guys want to listen to us on the podcast version, you can check it out on iTunes, Spotify, and everywhere you listen to podcasts. So I'm updating that right now, and we'll be
right on
soon. So
all right, guys. Well, this was fun. I want to thank Wayne and Tony.
Pleasure is all yours.
Tuning in now, thank you so much. I appreciate all of you, and we'll be back next week. And maybe we're not going to have a topic next week.
Oh.
Maybe we're just going to talk.
You know what I mean?
But really? Maybe we will have a topic.
Oh, okay.
All
right.
Just tune in next Thursday, man. Because now, I don't want to talk about my problems.
All right.
Because I have a big problem now. But now on Thursdays, my niece comes over to take care of the problem so I can do my show in peace.
Very cool.
So thanks to my niece who's over there.
What a cool niece.
Yeah, she's awesome. And so we'll have some uninterrupted shows. And again, guys, thank you so much. You are part of the Almost Human family. And
Glad to be here.
To have you both here. And I'm glad that Ian can't do the show anymore because fuck him.
Yeah, fuck him. I never liked him anyway.
We need to have him just kind of like pop in from work, just like for 2 seconds.
Yeah, he should. Yeah. I mean, what is he? He can't do anything that important.
Hey, can you believe Ian actually likes that last Motley Crue song?
I heard that, and I was very
I
shocked.
couldn't believe he said he liked it.
I couldn't get through it.
Ian like fucking bashes everything, and he likes that. It's like, oh, dude.
Well, good thing he's on the show then.
Anyway, fuck it. Everybody out there, thank you so much. Smack 'em a gob. Listen to Black Sabbath and stay frosty.